Good evening. This is the work session for Northfield City Council, September 30th of 2022. This meeting was properly advertised in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, in the Press of Atlantic City on January 8th of this year. May I have a flag salute led by Mayor Chow, please?
Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
Roll call?
Mrs. Bucci?
Here.
Mr. Deweese? Mr. Leeds?
Here.
Mr. Notaro?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Utz?
Here.
Mr. Palestina?
Here.
And Mr. Chow.
Here.
Mr. President?
Thank you. We'll start right off with committee reports. Councilman DeWeese is not here, but I think do you have
I do.
a couple items for him? Councilman Leeds.
For Councilman Deweese, the roof at the football refreshment stand should have been started. The contractor's been selected, and according to Council President Faustina, they're out there today.
Yes.
Councilman Taro says it's a one-day job, so it may very well be done. I didn't have a chance to drive by and check, but the other thing Councilman Deweese asked me to relay on is that we are discussing or approving the purchase order for the stairs to be placed tonight. They're going to be metal stairs to access the scoring area. Apparently there's some concerns with what's existing there now, so it's got to be done rather quickly.
Yeah, that's been closed
Are
for
they-
years because it's,
Did they change to metal, or was that
I believe it's metal, yeah.
pressure treated?
no, I think it's pressure treated.
I think it's just pressure treated.
It's just exterior though.
Exterior stairs, lowercase, is up to a metal ladder attached to the block. That's all that we wrote.
That's the old access, but yeah, okay.
Okay. That's all, okay, that's all we have for him. Councilman Leeds, you want to just continue with yours? We'll go out of order a little bit, but.
EMS report, August was a busy month. They were dispatched 240 times is what they wrote. 187 of them were to either Northfield or Linwood. They were sent out mutual aid 53 times, with 22 going to Garber Township, 19 to Summers Point, and 12 to Pleasantville. We had EMS mutual aid come into either Northfield or Linwood. They didn't break it down for me. I'm sorry, they did. Came into Northfield 15 times and into Linwood 12 times. The new, I guess EMS director's trying to figure out how to report more accurately and more details. There seems to be a little disconnect between what the ambulance GPS is telling them and the dispatch times, and I can understand it from supervising a dispatch center at one time. The dispatchers aren't as quick to hit arrive when they're on the phone or something like that, whereas the ambulance GPS is more of a concrete actual time. So that's something they're trying to work out with their communications people. The fire department responded to 22 incidences for the month of August. They did 36 non-incident activities such as drills, assisting the public and stuff of that nature, with a total of 225 they call man hours the fire department used for training and response. They responded to two emergency medical calls, and they provided critical life-saving skills for both of them. So that's pretty much all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Utz.
Okay, planning board's was fairly quiet last month. We only had to memorialize one issue. The docket looks like it's filling up for the coming month. There's 3 things on there so far. Mary has provided the letters to be sent out for, to see if anybody's interested in the lots for affordable housing. She prepared those and they're signed and they'll go out, I assume tomorrow. And that's really all I have.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it true that the eye doctor withdrew their application?
Yeah, they, whether or not they'll be back, yeah, they pulled out.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Councilman Notaro.
I have nothing to report this time, Mr. President.
Okay. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. President. Northfield Community School back in session. For that last time, they have their back-to-school night this evening. So parents get to go in and see what it's all about. I'm missing that to be here. I'm also missing Mainland School night to be here. Of course, I teach at Mainland, so I'm missing that as well, so I'm not there for other parents to be here. But, yeah, we wish the schools a safe and happy year as they get underway and get started. As for shared services, the dispatch has been our focus that we've been talking about, and we will have a meeting with Ocean City, just set up another meeting to kind of get some of their insights into what their proposal might be for us. We don't know what that's going to be just yet, but, I spoke with Councilman Leeds and Mayor Maddock of Linwood, and we did set up a meeting to talk with them further about their proposal, whatever that might be. We haven't received anything concrete yet, but we're anticipating at least getting some detail of what they're thinking next week at the meeting. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Is there any involvement with the end users, or are we just at the preliminary stages at this point? Like,
Well, they were assessing what they could do for us, so I think it's just a matter of finding out, where they come in at. So
Okay.
nothing, we're not that far along.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of getting their preliminary, I anticipate getting their kind of preliminary projections for that.
thank you. Councilwoman Bucci.
Thank you, Council President. The library, the attendance continues to increase. They've actually gotten over 1,000 last month, so that's good. They still have one open position. They've gotten paperwork done and completed for the correct tax ID numbers, so now they're identified correctly for that purposes. Their bank accounts have been updated. And the only other thing I have is for Municipal Alliance, trunk or treat is October 8th from 4 to 7. If anybody's interested in attending that, they need to reach Shannon in the office, and she'll take care of them from there. That's it for me.
Thank you. From my committee, Finance and Collections, things, in looking at the reports year to year as far as collections, it seems as though we may be doing better than previous, but that could just be timing as to when people bring things in. But that also seems to be a good sign, considering we had some, our previous tax collector leave. And on the way out, she did quite she went above and beyond, coming back in and helping keep things rolling so that we didn't miss a step. And then that Michelle Cortos? Did I say it?
Kurtzos.
Kurtzos. Kurtzos. Try to say it right, it's hard. And then Lauren Cohen is our new collector, and she seems to have hit the ground running and everything going smoothly. That is all I have from my committees. We'll move on to the work session. I think Northfield drainage, I think we're done with that.
think
It
we're
seems as
beyond
though if it drained last week,
Yes, no
Yeah.
issues, so.
I think we can remove that.
But it's still on the state project when they reconstruct Route 9.
Okay,
That is a problem area they need to fix. So it's on there. When we had a couple meetings with the state to discuss the upgrade of Route 9, that is an area that they have to figure out.
evaluated, I guess?
No, they have to fix it. They know there's a
thought it was-
drainage. Because the area is still low, they need to do something about
Oh,
it.
okay, the area's still low, it's draining, but it's still low.
Right.
Thank you. And have we heard?
I haven't heard back from the county engineer yet.
Okay. Any update on the,
Well, again, those letters are going out, so that's the update.
that was your, yeah, ahead of time, all right. And the sign ordinance, I think we don't have anything additional at this point to discuss, Councilman Bucci?
No.
Okay. Next item will be in the new grants. I think do you have anything
We're-
other, you're working on?
The TSA, set aside for the transportation,
Okay,
for the bike path upgrade.
okay. And then another item on here is special projects. We've been discussing potentially having a second person as far as getting grants that's involved heavily money in the infrastructure bill and Build Back Better, so we're gonna try to identify some potential projects. And some of those programs include all costs, so since it's, you know, wouldn't be anything out of our budget, it might be minimal cost, but we'll put something together. Some of the items that have been discussed are our city facilities, the garage, I don't know, it's pretty old.
Public Works.
Yeah, Public Works building. And the other items that are in that infrastructure, though, are a lot of sewer items, so we can coordinate that with the
Yeah.
projects that we're already, that
We
we've
can get
seen.
some slip lining.
We've seen the slip line as a great, yeah, so evaluate all those together to see what makes sense to, or what fits into the programs. So we'll put something together. I mean, is there any other items that anyone from council? or-
I'd still like to see a master plan for Birch Grove Park. I don't know if that sort of grant is available, but
If that-
I'd love
yeah.
to see a professional master plan with, you know, a 10-year window.
It's on, if that falls under that infrastructure, that's, yeah, I did have that as one of my, but I couldn't figure out how that would fit in, but you never know in these federal programs.
How about recreation? Is there any of that in
I guess that would be part of that master plan. There,
bike path?
well, Rami's already working on that.
You're working on that,
Yeah,
right?
the upgrade of the bike path.
Mr. President, it was, in terms of grants, I don't know if anyone else saw this, we received it Monday, September 19th. The U.S. Department of Transportation Federal Highway put out an email about grants that are available. I don't know if that's something that we've looked at or if anyone, it says SMART, the SMART Grants Program and the attains for vehicle technology like automation, connectivity, systems innovations like delivery, logistics, traffic signals, smart grid and data integration, and new ways to monitor and manage infrastructure like sensors and whatever UAS is, I don't know. But that was something that we just received. I'm not sure if that's anything that we've looked at or
I'm not, I,
it just came this week, so it was just, it was just yesterday, it came through the email.
Yeah, for instance, Council President, maybe part of that is charging stations. I mean, if we could, you know, if the city could install charging stations here, or at Birch Grove, or different city-owned properties as part of a grant, because that's supposed to be certainly part of,
did we just,
There are grants out there for that, as a matter of fact.
yeah.
And also, I was going to make this my report, but since you brought up the topic, later on this month, and I can't make this because I have a previous engagement, the ACUA will have both a webinar as well as an actual, for vendors, to talk to vendors with regards to electrical appliance or electrical vehicles and units that can be installed within the municipalities. So if anybody wants information who would want to attend the webinar, it's later on this month. And there's another date for attending at the ACUA to talk to these vendors. But I think, and the planning board, as you know, has discussed this. We know that this eventually is going to come, and I agree with the Councilman Utz that, you know, it would be a nice thing for these charging stations. I mean, there's logistics involved, but I think this is a thing of the future.
yeah, I've seen I thought we spoke about those at in our budget meetings. The topic came up about those, possible grants for those, but I think there are, maybe through the electric company. I think they had a program.
Yeah, there are another one, but, and the ACUA, I know, has already at their facilities charging stations there for their vehicles.
There was legislation introduced last year that new developments at some point are going to have charging stations. We talked with Joel Fleischman briefly about the need to incorporate that into the land use ordinance. So it's going to become required.
That might be rare. That
Well,
might
the
be
planning
rare.
board is already looking into it as far as requiring commercial buildings to make that part of their plan. It's not, you know, it hasn't been finalized yet, but I'm more looking at our public spaces, if it's possible, to get grants for installations of power stations, charging stations.
Councilman Smith, just so you know, the UA uses the drones, unmanned aerial systems.
Thank you.
And that's something off the record, but OEM is looking at pursuing a grant for that. I had dinner with the AC and Galloway Police Chief the other night, and they both are getting the grant money, so they're gonna send it to me, so we can try to get it for the city.
That might be something to look at.
Great.
Okay. Next item, the seating for the council chambers. I think these pews are, looking at replacing those. That is on the agenda tonight. We talked about it at the budget time, so it has,
The resolution's not. It'll be next time.
Oh, the resolution's not on here.
If everybody wants to move
Didn't
forward.
these get, how long ago did these get replaced?
They were a court security project in '08.
Oh, wait,
they're repurposed from a church, I think, weren't they?
Yep.
really? That's pretty cool.
Because the seating at that point was not fixed, and somebody could pick it up and throw a
Pick
chair.
it up and throw it, right, because they were individual. Yeah,
These are harder to
much,
throw.
yeah, you can. Maybe you can,
If somebody throws one of them,
So if they're generally in favor, we'll have it
Yeah.
on the agenda.
if there's, as I said, it was in the budget. I think it's, we can add it to the next agenda. If anyone has, if no one has any objections. I know I have a copy of it here.
Should be
And they're gonna
safe.
be like the movie theater, right?
Yeah. There'll be,
No, no.
No
do they have
cup holders.
chargers?
If you want to
There'll be
let me
separate
spend
s-
that money, I'm happy to.
there'll be
They have
separate
coolers,
seatings.
chargers?
There'll be separate seatings, and half of them will have a pull-up little desktop for people to,
Make
Right.
notes and stuff.
for when, yeah.
Did you pick those out, Mary?
I did.
Good. I
They'll be
trust it then.
Upholstered on the interior and
We'll be
then
good.
plastic on the backs of them to avoid the expense of that. And it'll match the blue decor.
And it'll allow, you can seat more people more efficiently that way?
Yeah. All right. And the fire pit, I think we already,
Yeah, I'm gonna get with
we'll clear that
The,
up for next.
the chief and get it all worked up. If anybody has any input, you have the ordinance in hand, feel free to email me and I'll get with the chief in the next 2 weeks.
The one item that is going to be, that's being discussed now is the gas pits.
And the addition of
And the-
commercial.
For commercial,
For
right. and then
commercial, and. well,
Not excluding
both per-
commercial.
Both, oh yeah, gas for both residential and commercial.
Right, and not excluding commercial for both.
Yeah. But you're gonna exclude commercial for burning other things other than a gas pit, correct?
I don't believe that was the recommendation, but I'll double check,
Okay.
yeah.
So would that be any commercial establishment?
And that's what I did
So-
question that as
So
well,
Chico's, if they want to
yeah,
put
like-
one in their parking lot, I mean,
Right, I know, we have to
They need
kind
more
of,
stuff in that parking lot.
They want one.
yeah, I don't know how we,
I can't find any other town that has it in their ordinance
for commercial.
at all. Ventnor's the only one that has an ordinance. Longport's just says fire pits are generally permissible with some setback requirements, doesn't differentiate between commercial and residential.
Right, so then,
Ventnor says no commercial, and everybody else is silent
on commercial,
on fire pits.
right,
Altogether.
It might say no outdoor burning, but they don't mention fire pits. So if it says no outdoor burning, it's like ours.
right.
But there's a lot of little businesses all over the place, so we need to carve that out. If you're gonna, you can't just say yes, commercial.
Well,
Correct.
we'd have certain, yeah, I would say setbacks.
Yeah, because then you got, instead of flags, we have fire pits out there burning. We don't, sorry. Didn't mean to bring the sign ordinance up, but,
Thanks.
yeah, I'll discuss that with them.
Okay.
That was a concern of mine as well.
Okay.
Hey, Council President?
Yes.
Just one thing. Last week, we had Mr. Luciano who asked for a hardship waiver.
Yes.
The next day, I contacted the gas company and I explained to them that they could have done exactly what they did on Broad Street. They submitted a permit, So we don't need the hardship waiver for
Oh,
that.
they are?
gentleman. Yes, I just got the permit that they would piggyback on another service.
Okay,
So this one will be able to service it
That's
and without
great.
having the hardship or opening the road at this point.
good,
All right, just want to let you know
Saves
that's
them a
done
lot of
at this point.
Yeah.
thank,
Before we pull that from the agenda, we should probably get confirmation from the homeowner.
I got the permit, right? I have a copy of the permit.
Oh, okay.
Came in the mail. I told them to email me a copy. I haven't received the hard copy, but this is the copy.
Who'd you get that from?
South Jersey Gas Company, and it's very specific. It says behind the curb.
He wants to pull that.
Yeah,
yeah, we'll confirm with, yeah.
Okay.
As Chris was just saying, we'll confirm with the homeowner, make sure that he's okay with us pulling it, but we won't vote on that tonight. We'll
Table it.
We'll table that one
Okay.
tonight.
All right.
Oh, I'm having hold on, something's going on here. I'm so sorry.
Uh-oh,
It keeps deleting lines of text.
okay,
I can't repeat that again.
forget what I said.
I think that's even on here.
It's
First
171.
one.
171.
I don't think we need to table that, we just don't need to introduce it.
Don't introduce it? Okay. It's working again.
I don't know what's going on.
The regular meeting.
So
Did you hit the insert button on the keyboard?
I thought I did so I just hit it again. So when I try and type in the name of the next person to speak, it goes up and erases something else.
Oh, jeez.
Technology.
Um, All right. It's okay. I opened up a new worksheet.
Okay.
Sorry, Shannon. All right, so what I missed was, Mr. Nassar said, the gas company has a workaround, right?
They
Yes.
have reapplied with the new permit to install behind the curb, so they don't need to disturb the road anymore.
That was a good that you knew that.
Yeah.
Very helpful to,
I mean,
for everybody.
I tried to help the homeowners. Sometimes you can't. The
Yeah.
Utility companies don't, but they
It
did
would be
that.
expensive for them and time consuming to work, to rip up the street.
Okay, and, Mr. Vicente, I believe you asked me to get confirmation from the property owner, is that correct?
Yes, they
Okay.
would like to withdraw his application.
Thank you.
And we're not gonna introduce 171 today, or move it, I should say.
All right, hold up, thank you, sorry about that.
Okay, everyone please refer to your agenda. All right, approval of the minutes, Councilman Leeds and Councilman Utz. Resolution 190, Councilman Leeds and Councilman Notaro. The consent agenda, any items anyone wishes to have pulled from the consent agenda?
Yes, 188.
188. Any others? Okay, so Councilman Smith and Councilwoman Bucci, 180 through 187 and 189. And then 188, Councilwoman Bucci, Councilman Notaro. Payment of the bills, Councilman Notaro, Councilman Leeds. And meeting notices, Councilman Utz.
If I can, just quickly, 188, since that's pulled, I just want to reiterate the fact that I do not believe this particular individual has been rights noticed. As a We cannot discuss the merits of his employment. We can discuss the resolution in general, but you can't discuss the merits of his employment or anything like that for fear of, you can do that in executive session. I would recommend you do that, but in order to get to an executive session, if there's going to be extended conversation, you have to send the appropriate rights notice.
Explain to me what that means.
So
We can talk about the
We
posi-
can't discuss the individual per se,
Person.
correct.
but the position.
The-
Just not the person.
Correct. You can't discuss the person, his performance in his current job or
Okay,
any
good.
future
Yeah,
job.
that's nothing to do with it.
Okay.
I would never do that.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, with that, we will now open the meeting to the public. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on any matter, we
Alicia Gary.
we invite you to come up to the podium.
I'm at the city council.
Please state your name and address for the record, and we ask you to observe a 5-minute limit per speaker.
Good evening. Tom Boyd, 1117 Northfield Avenue. Even with my hearing aids, I think I may have heard, I'm not absolutely sure, with respect to Block 66, Lot 11, someone withdrew an offer or negotiations on it?
We have not offered it up yet. We're just doing that as part of our affordable housing plan, sending out letters to various nonprofits to see if there's any interest.
Okay. Is Habitat for Humanity still
They're one of them.
expressing an interest?
Oh, again, we're offering it to 3 different agencies, and they're one of them.
Okay. I was curious because for years I've been involved
Yeah.
in the local chapter
Mhm.
of Habitat. And most municipalities like Pleasantville, Atlantic City, Callaway, Hamilton Township would dedicate the properties at no cost in order to get affordable housing credits. So I'm just curious, at the fact that maybe
Well, Mr. Boyd, it's possible that we may look at the flag lot that it is and maybe do the subdivision and sell off one of the lots to cover the costs of the subdivision. But we're gonna see what the interest is and decide where to go from there.
all right, that answered that question. I turned these up a little bit. Another issue that I have, and some of my neighbors have, is now that the plans for the ice cream parlor, Tilton, the corner of Tilton and Zion Road now called the exit onto Zion Road, okay? Two issues. One is we've noticed that the construction vehicles associated with that project are parking along Zion Road. Now, I know that's a county road, okay? The question is there anything the city can do to have the county look at that as to post it as no parking once the facility opens?
That, Mr. Boyd, that did go before the county. And the public had an opportunity to review the plans because it was a county road. And my concerns was traffic flow, and I had made several recommendations. I believe, and I never received the response, but I believe they did take one of my recommendations as far as not allowing two-way traffic in and out through Tilton Road. And traffic exiting through Zion Road. I don't know if there was any other discussions from the public or from the planning board, from the county level, with regards to the parking or traffic flow in that area.
Is there generally an issue with people parking, other than the construction vehicles that won't be there anymore? Is there,
Some of the delivery vehicles for
Tilton
Tilton
Market.
Market also park on the east side of Tilton Road.
Right.
It gets a little congested.
It
Right.
does, yeah.
And
I've
those
seen it.
vehicles are
Absolutely.
rather, that you were referring to, and I know what you're talking about, are rather large, and they would not be able to get into
Just a-
Tilton Market and
Well,
so forth.
that, Tilton Market has two lots.
Mhm.
Now we're gonna have exiting on Zion.
Mr. Boyd, what we'll do is we'll check with the county, because what Mary just brought up was that it may very well be a no parking zone and just not have signs. So it may just, we need to check with the,
On the other side of Tilton Road, that stretch of Zion
Yeah.
The urgent care center and the professional complex are signed, no parking.
Right.
It was just a question that I had for council, if they have any influence on persuading that.
We can certainly
the other
ask.
thing is, having residing at the intersection of Northfield Avenue, Wabash Avenue, Fay, and Zion Road for the last 50 years, some of the concern myself and other neighbors have is the impact on that intersection. Not only now that the ice cream parlor's exiting on the Zion Road, people, exiting see a red light, they're headed to Margate or south to Linwood or Summers Point. They're gonna turn, go down Zion Road, either shortcut across Wabash, or like a lot of people do, just fire down Northfield Avenue to Shore Road, and then turn south. So I know this is more of a planning board issue, but I think some consideration has to be given now that the ice cream parlor is about to open, that any future development, either the church lot and or the vacant lots, there's some vacant lots on the east side of Zion Road between Tilton and the bike path. That, rumor is that, that's looking to be developed too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an issue that some of us in the area have about safety, particularly kids crossing the bike path. Okay, particularly after school activities, I've noticed kids coming up, there's no crossing guard once, 3:45 or whatever rolls around. And kids are crossing that intersection on these electric scooters, or bikes. So it's just a point of some neighborhood interest in what's happening with respect to development as it impacts that intersection. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Wood.
you.
Is there anyone in Zoom wishing to speak?
Shannon, you want to talk? Raise your hand. No, sir. I was going to say. Not that hand.
Seeing no one else wishing to speak, the public session is now closed.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I kind of missed this going through the agenda for the evening. And the resolution 190.
Yes.
Do I need to pull that to discuss it?
That'll be a separate issue on its own.
Separate issue? Okay.
Yeah, that has a separate, that's already separate. It's not part of the consent agenda.
Thank you.
My same advice is on that, as I made earlier, on the other resolution involving employment.
Yes. Do I have a motion to adjourn the work session?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We'll start the regular meeting momentarily. Oh, we're early. Oh, yeah, we don't have everybody coming in until 7. Yeah. So we'll
7 o'clock?
start going through everything until they arrive.
Yeah.
Mind if I grab a water? Your office will clean up?
Yes, it is.
Okay, ready? Oh, sorry.
Does anyone need a water? I just need to grab a water.
Thank you.
I'm good, thank you, Brian.
I'm ready when he comes back. Unless you
Okay.
don't want to wait, I don't care.
No, we'll wait a moment. We'll give you a topic.
Discuss.
Let's start. Oh, Brian.
The parkway is neither a park nor a way. Discuss. Like butter.
I think it's the only science episode I've ever seen.
This is gonna take a while.
We will wait to 7, or?
I really think we shouldn't have.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I closed it because there were people in the hallway talking.
We really shouldn't have taken the new
Brian, would you
HVAC off.
unlock that, open that up? I'm sorry, people were in the hallway talking when you guys were talking, so that's fine.
The repair of it. They
Oh,
kept-
because it's leaking in the hallway every week.
Get out. He told, we had somebody look at it and they said it was good.
That was the boiler.
That was the boiler.
I think the HVAC is getting replaced with the roof, I think.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
All right, now where's he going?
And
Good evening. This is the regular meeting of Northfield City Council, September 20th of 2022. This meeting has been properly advertised in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, in the Press of Atlantic City on January 8th of this year. May I have a flag salute led by Mayor Chow, please?
Please rise. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could you please seat it for my little discussions? Go ahead, sit down.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that, you know, in all my years of being an elected official, I've learned one great thing about the fact that we get a lot of complaints. And lots of times people are criticizing us for whatever we are and do. And, you know, there's always, we can't please everyone. And I realize that. And I remember one of our mayors pointed out to us that that's the reason why there's people who like vanilla ice cream and chocolate ice cream. You know, that's life. And so I just want to say something to all of us here on City Council. I'm not trying to pat you on the back, but I do want to make some recognition that all of you deserve. And it goes like this. It's about Mother Teresa, and we all know who she was. And we know she was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1979. And she said that when we work hard all day long, it feels like we are only one drop in the ocean. But if our individual drops were not in the ocean would be dry. Each of you is a drop in our ocean. And without each of you, we would be empty and dry. So never forget how important each one of you are. And so I say thank you to all of you for the wonderful job and the dedication and all the headaches that you get. Thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Roll call, Mrs. Bucci?
Here.
Mr. Deweese? Mr. Leeds? Here. Mr. Notaro?
Here.
Mr. Smith? Here. Mr. Utz?
Here.
Mr. Palestina?
Here.
And Mr. Chow?
Here.
Mr. President?
Thank you. May I have a motion for approval of the minutes?
I can make the necessary motion to approve the minutes. They've been properly advertised in the clerk's office, and they're available for anybody who would like to see them.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And we'll move right on to Resolution 190. Since that's on its own,
180.
190 is just after the proclamations.
Oh, okay.
It's on its own.
Yeah, I got you.
Separate.
I'd like to make the necessary motion to adopt Resolution 190, 2022.
I'll second it.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, that was Eric, I'm sorry, I took your,
That's okay. At least it was the same two people. Discussion?
I thought I wrote it wrong.
I would like to discuss this matter. I'm not sure why this is on our agenda this evening, to be honest with you. I don't remember having any discussion. I mean, I remember having some preliminary discussions about this position. And apparently there were some discussions, one of the meetings I was out, at the end of June. I have not heard anything about it since. past summer, and now it's on here, and this was something that came up during, I believe, budget time, and we did have some general discussions, but, I'm not sure why we're making this move at this point. I don't have enough information. I feel like this should actually be tabled, to be honest with you, that this is adding a full-time firefighter to it, and at the last negotiations that took place, the last contract, that everyone was well aware, we made a decision that both sides accepted, that we would move forward looking for part-time firefighters, not hiring another full-time firefighter. That's still the case. Their council knows it, our council knows it. I'm not sure why at this point we're entertaining this. We don't have to do it. I feel like this was dropped in here, and, I don't have enough information. I'm not sure why we're doing it. I'm not sure what the need is. No one has proven to me that it's necessary, and I would like to know why we haven't looked for part-time, which is what the agreement was, that we would move forward with part-time firefighters. That's what the agreement was 3 years ago. And I know that a number of you, probably 4 of you, were not on council at that time, but that was the agreement. And now we're changing that. And I feel like this needs further discussion. I feel like throwing it on here, attached to the proclamations for our terrific volunteers, I'm kind of not, I'm not sure why that was attached to that, but I feel like this should be tabled. I don't think we should vote to approve this at this time. I need more information, and, it's just, it goes beyond what we agreed 3 years ago in negotiations. Right? Why are we doing it? And why are we doing it this evening? Right, when we haven't had discussions, not that I've been part of anyway, about its need.
So if I can, procedurally, the motion has been moved and seconded. In order to table that motion, there needs to be a motion to table it. That motion would need to be seconded, and it would need to be approved by a majority in order to actually table it. So if your intention is to table it, you would need a motion, a second, and a vote. That can happen with or without further discussion, but that would be the procedure to do that.
No,
Well, I would like to make the necessary motion to table 190-2022.
And I would second that motion.
Mary, roll call?
Mrs. Bucci?
To table it.
A
No.
yes vote would be to table it.
No.
Yes, an affirmative vote is in agreement with the motion to table. A negative vote is defeating the motion, which means the motion to table will fail.
No.
Mr. Deweese, Mr. Leeds,
No.
Mr. Notaro,
No.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Utz,
Yes.
Mr. Palestina.
Yes.
In the event of a tie, mayor is the tiebreaker under our form of government. Would you poll the mayor, Mayor?
Mayor Chow, you have to cast the deciding vote. If you vote in the affirmative, the motion to table is upheld. If you vote in the negative, the motion to table fails. And the motion is to table the ordinance for the employment status change for firefighter Christopher Trench.
Resolution.
Or resolution, my apologies.
I've heard some good points here, and I understand where Councilman Smith is coming from. I know there's been discussion, but I think that if there's still some questions as to how this has gotten to this point, and therefore, I will say no.
No? That you do not want to table it?
Not that I'm sorry, that I do want to table it. I'm sorry.
Yes, would be your vote?
Yes.
Yes.
The motion to table is upheld, and therefore Resolution of 222 will not be moved this evening.
Is on the table.
Okay,
Could I suggest a brief recess while somebody calls this gentleman?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Good idea.
yeah.
Motion.
mo- Second? Anyone? Okay, just a recess, recess for 5 minutes or so to call him.
Who's calling him?
Who knows him?
I guess the fire chief.
Yeah. Can you contact someone in the fire department, or Councilman Leeds?
Because we're not in recess, the recording is still live, just so everyone knows?
Are we in recess?
No, we are not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought we were.
That's you have to motion
A
second.
real reset, okay.
Right.
That's what I tried to do.
I didn't tell you not to.
I did.
There's 4 of you here. You can,
Yeah, we can continue.
If you'd like to, no, you can make the motion to recess.
there's 4 of you here.
Oh. Yeah, can I get a motion to go in official recess? No, I need some,
a motion to go into a formal recess.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Now we're officially in. Call the meeting back to order? Okay, mayor's report?
Thank you, Council President. I don't know if I made this report from our last council meeting, but I have now officially received 3 applicants from our Northfield Police Department staff for the chief's position. Has the date been firmed up yet for the testing? And what date is that, Chief? The 7th? Okay. Of next month. Procedurally by the ordinance, and I have consulted with our labor attorney, what will happen is, once the chief's test has been completed and the evaluation has been submitted, and it's a 2-part, they have an oral and a written test. The points will be tallied up, and then the recommendation, or the points, excuse me, will be submitted to me. From there, by ordinance, there will be a committee established, and that is myself, council president, and our city clerk. And at that point, we will interview the 3 candidates, and we will come up and evaluate and make a decision and recommendation as a collective body. And then I will submit it to city council for their consideration. I like to get this done as quickly as possible. And one of the rationale reason is that, and the Chief Newman has agreed with me, and he has recommended this to me, that whoever we choose as our next new police chief, we would like to get them in an interim period where they can get some training from Chief Newman as far as what the new chief will be expecting. So when Chief Newman retires at the end of this fiscal year, the new chief will have some knowledge and experience, so to speak, when he rolls in on January 1. And so that's what I would like to do at that point. Obviously, this will create some deficiencies in terms of staffing. We may have to, and then with the new chief, decide and make recommendations to city council on what we're going to do as far as the internal promotions or appointments that will be made. I'm happy to say that, once again, we have some new businesses in Northfield. Today, I did one grand opening, an establishment called Color Me Salon, which is located in London Court. And the owner, which I was pleasantly surprised, but yet somewhat embarrassed, is that the owner, her father was one of my former students. So you can feel how I'm just getting older and older, you know? So, but anyway, I welcomed them today, and it was a wonderful event. The next event that I would like to invite everyone to City Council is that this Saturday, I don't have the official time yet, but this Saturday, they're going to have the grand opening of the Jersey Cow ice cream parlor there on Tilton and Zion Road. So I would like to see everyone there. I mean, you know, I'm sure we're going to get some treats and everything like that, but I understand that they have been well received. The lines are big and long and so forth, but and I think it's great that we have another business coming into Northfield, and I know we have a couple more coming up. So that's good, the good news. The next item I want to bring to your attention is, on tonight, there's an agenda item, Resolution 189-2022, authorizing the execution of CGI agreement and addendum. And I want to apologize from the last city council meeting. My communication to all of you was a little confusing. And what I was trying to bring about is that there are two programs that CGI has submitted to my office. The first one, and this is for clarification, is the reference to Resolution 189-2022, and that is to continue the agreement with the solicitation of businesses to advertise on the website that is being provided by CGI. Now, when I say website, it's not the city's version or website, but on our website there is a site that anybody can go to, and it highlights some of the attributes of our municipalities, like Birch Grove Park.
It's a link to their.
It's a link, thank you very much. And on there, it's being paid for, this and thing, by businesses. So that's what's on there. The second program, which I'm not ready, and by the way, our solicitor has reviewed the agreement and made the necessary changes that we feel that is within the confines of our needs. The second one is a program that is the Banner program. And this is a program that CGI would solicit to our businesses to see if they would like to purchase a banner that would be advertising, not only, we'll say sponsors by sponsorship on the banner, and we would have some kind of design. And my thought is, if we were to pursue with this, it would be on Tilton Road, because and New Road, because I've had businesses ask me, is there any way we could do, and talking about the banners and signs, if that's something that we would think about. So we're in the process of doing further research. I did bring it to the attention of the Economic Committee, but I wanted to clarify, so there's no confusion. So once again, that aspect of CGI, the banner program, has nothing to do with our banner program that we have on Shore Road. So I'm just to let you know, I'll bring that up to City Council at another date for their consideration. So before I go any further, are there any questions? I know I was long-winded, but I wanted to make sure we understood what was going on.
I'd like to collaborate with you on that.
Absolutely.
We have some ideas for.
Oh, yeah.
Gold Mile, blah, blah,
Oh,
blah.
yes, absolutely.
Brands.
A business committee, or the economic committee has to be, in my opinion. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mayor, one second?
Yes, sir.
Do you mind if we postpone or not move the computer end of CGI until next meeting? She sent me some revisions back.
Oh, okay.
I just want to be able to review them, make sure they.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. There's no rush. There's no rush. I wanted, since Mr. Boyd brought this up with regards to safety issues that he has observed on the bike path. And throughout this month and last month, I've been riding the bike, not riding, but driving by the bike path and stopping people who are using the bike path and asking them various questions about, you know, how they feel is the maintenance of the bike path itself, the safety issues, any recommendations for improvements and so forth. I've come before City Council and discussed about the litter or the excrements from animals, you know, it's a tough thing. But that's one issue. Another issue is with regards to these electric bikes and scooters, where individuals are just zooming by and literally knocking people off the bike path and so forth. I don't know what we can do. One person I spoke to last night said, well, can we put up signs? And we know that people either don't read the signs or they don't care. But it is a concern, and, you know, it is an issue that we have here in the city, as well as many other cities, with children and adults riding these little scooters and electric bikes going through our area. So I just wanted to bring that to City Council, and also for those parents and children who are watching this City Council meeting. We had a situation, and through Chief Newman's cooperation and with the department, we had a project or program that we've had several years with our local McDonald's, where we gave a little incentive, you know, Sunday, a little ice cream sundae from McDonald's if they were seen wearing their bike helmets as part of the bike safety program that Chief Newman has instituted. And I think it's worked pretty well, but, you know, we can't get everyone. So I want to emphasize to everyone that this is something that there is a New Jersey state law that says you need to wear helmets, and there has to be some form of following safety reasons. And the reason why I bring that up, most recently I was talking to a crossing guard that was located on Zion and Mill Road, a very busy street, and he heard a loud crying noise. And he turned around and he saw, fortunately, these two young ladies had fallen off the scooter. Not in the street, but fallen off the scooter on the sidewalk. And what he noticed was that this young lady, or child, that was going to school, was carrying a football in one arm, the other hand on the scooter, and another girl on the back.
I see it all the time.
And, yeah, and we see it all the time. And, you know, I understand, you know, the convenience factor, but, you know, I want to express to children and to the parents that this is something that they have to watch. I mean, God forbid something happens. You know, these little scooters are not made to carry more than one child or one person. So,
Well, they may think of that now, that
yeah, I mean, God, knock on wood, and we know that is a very busy section or road. God forbid there would have been an accident, a car hitting a child falling off, and something happened. So, you know, my word is, you know, let's try to be a little bit more mindful of this, and I thank Mr. Boyd for bringing up the point, because he too notices, and a lot of other people notices these things.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. The next thing, and I am long-winded tonight.
Getting paid extra?
Yeah, I got some water, right? So, I, with the assistance of our city clerk and with our solicitor, We have drafted a letter that we sent to our local legislators expressing our concerns about not only affordable housing, but these, what we call cooperative, sober living homes. That the city, and I'll put this in my own terms, that we seem to be at the mercy, and we can't say much about what happens in terms of these homes. And I'm not against them, but, you know, we don't know about them and where they're being placed and any kind of legislation that regulates some of them and how we enforce them and so forth. And I know city council has spoken many times to the public about this. So hopefully collectively, this letter that, with the assistance of our city clerk and our solicitor, that was drafted, it was sent out. I haven't received the response, but I do want to let you all know that we did send that letter, okay? The last thing is this. All of you have known that through budget and that I have expressed my concerns that as Chief Newman retires or will retire, there will be some openings and vacancies within our department. And unfortunately, as you know, a vacancy occurred most recently by the passing of Officer Skull. And as a result, these vacancies will leave some openings that provide somewhat of a deficiency in our department. And there is a issue that I want everyone to understand, that at one point in time, we did have 2 Class 2 officers online, and then this year, council decided that we would only have 1 Class 2 officer, and that position would also hold the responsibility of code enforcement. If we approve tonight's Resolution 188-20-22, there will be no officer Class 2 and code enforcement officer. And in speaking with Chief Newman today, he's aware of it, and I want to make council aware that if we go forward with this resolution, which Chief Newman has recommended to me, and I am taking this recommendation to you for this promotion, it will leave this position open, and we will have to advertise. And when we will get someone that is qualified or someone who is willing to take on this position and work, I don't know. And I don't know if Chief Newman, if you wish to say something about my comments? No, I've said it pretty much.
So here we are with a vacancy, and you had indicated to me you want this done by the end of the year. This particular vacancy filled. My recommendation to you is what's on that resolution in front of you. I think it would be very ambitious to try to get this done through advertising, through interviewing, through background checks. Really, to get this done, bring somebody in brand new off the street and get all this done before January, before December 31st. It would be very ambitious. We have a situation here now where we can convert an individual who I feel is ready to step up into that role. There's a class, October 17th, a training class, it's a 10-day training class. I can call them in that tomorrow. So everything's dependent upon the resolution. That was what my recommendation was to you. Now, the zoning thing, the code enforcement, we're gonna have to address that somehow. That's part of the discussion. So, you know, you and I can talk about that at some point. You know, really, it's not much more I can do. I said this is something we couldn't do. And here we are in the position. You know, and to try to get interviews and applications and interviews done. The lieutenant's leaving, he's done November 1st, I'm done January 1st. We have a lot going on in December, we have vacations, people are on vacations already, and
Chief, is there a sense of urgency to do this?
Well, we're short.
You're short.
Yeah.
You're short in your,
Yeah.
on your,
Right,
You're-
and
you're-
even assuming we had somebody on the books tomorrow to hire, it wouldn't necessarily be ready to go. You know, it's a different process, because they have to be field trained. Now, I know we're not supposed to talk about personnel matters, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. But there's a process with that.
Right.
That takes time, and it's dependent upon the individual. It's not a cast in stone thing where, you know, you get 6 weeks, you're done. It could be more, it could be less.
Are you short in all the shifts, or in just one shift, or one particular time frame?
We're down one right now, one shift.
Right.
Yeah. And we're gonna be down two people.
Mhm.
You're gonna need to bring in 3 officers.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm trying to get a little bit ahead of the curve before the lieutenant walks up and when I walk up there, you know?
Right,
So, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, and keep in mind, talk,
It's just funded.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to, you know, you gotta go look for additional, you know, funding sources. It's there.
and keep in mind, as Chief Newman pointed out, come November 1st, we will lose Lieutenant Jettinger, and we only have one lieutenant. So November 1st, he's gone. And, you know, I had asked council to reconsider about having established a second lieutenant, because I knew this was going to happen, trying to get someone that with some administrative background and experience and the workload. You know, I don't know what's going to happen, and, you know, this is something that Chief Newman and I will discuss as far as when Lieutenant leaves, or the position opens up, how we're going to fill that little vacancy, that slot there, and with all the else that is coming down the road here.
I mean, we're gonna get advertising out, I'm working on that now, we hope to have that out by the beginning of October 1st, is have the advertisement out to hire, and at least this way, when we're gone, we'll have a pool of candidates ready, you know, because obviously you're gonna have to test for a new lieutenant and whatnot, and then you're gonna have to hire, you know, our replacement, so at least if we get the advertisements out there, we get the applications brought in, and, you know, we can start looking at the process and which way we're gonna go for any new hires. So we're gonna have to start from scratch. I don't have a pool of applicants sitting in my back pocket here ready to go, you know, aside from, you know, what's on tonight's agenda. It's a tough place to be in, but nobody could have solved this conference, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Does anyone else, I have concluded my report. Does anyone have any questions for me? Okay. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll move on to the engineer's report.
I'll be quick. I'm not long. Just 3 items on my report. The paving for our road program should be wrapped up the end of the week, the paving end of it. There's a punch list item, the driveways, there's a lot more work left, but they'll be wrapped up with the basic paving by the end of the week. Also, at the same time, they are going to correct the few puddles we had on Merritt and Ridgewood, and it's a punch list item. And they were waiting for the big machines to be on site, so they will be doing that this week, and they will take care of it. And there's a resolution tonight for Pioneer for the additional paving along Herbert, Shepherd, and Shepherd Circle West. I was contacted by them. If this resolution is approved, they're ready to move forward on next Monday with the paving.
Okay.
So within a couple of weeks, we'll have most of the paving projects done in the city. And then that's my report.
Council President, may I ask the engineer a
Yes.
question? Rami, what is the process in terms of notifying residents that would be affected by the reconstruction or paving of their streets in their residential area?
You mean?
How do they
before we-
notify these people of the pending,
Just the day before they will put door hangers.
the day before they put door hangers?
Yeah, or they
Is
put
it-
in the mailbox.
It's a letter.
Okay,
Or letters in the mailbox.
okay.
But we don't notify residents that this project is up and coming, so there's no
Okay.
mechanism for that.
But like a day or two before the project actually commences?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Rami, I got, Today, I was close to some of the contractors, of course, that they were on our street, Brian and I street. They did a wonderful job today on our street. I will say I got some really good feedback, and they spoke very highly of you and the working relationship that you have with them, so.
Oh, thank
Just
you.
wanted to give you some props on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Notaro. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Nasser? Thank you.
That's my report, sir. By the way, that was under a minute.
I guess we'll open up to the public now. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on any matter, we invite you to come up and do so at this time, and we ask that you state your name and address for the record and observe a 5-minute limit per speaker.
Anyone in Zoom wishing to speak, please raise your hand. No one?
Okay. Seeing no one, the public session is now closed. Moving on to the
Council
resolution.
President,
Yes.
before we do the resolutions, because we were scheduled at 7,
Oh,
can we
yes.
do
Are
the?
they,
all right.
Are they coming in? No?
No one seems to be here.
Okay,
They declined it to come.
okay.
They decline?
Yep.
I thought they were just out there.
They are.
I think they left.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on to the resolutions. May I have a motion to introduce consent agenda for 180 through 187?
I'd like to make the necessary motion to adopt resolutions 180-2022 through 187-2022 by consent agenda.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And may I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Make the motion to adopt the consent agenda for resolutions 180-2022 through 187-2022.
Second?
Roll call.
Mrs. Bucci?
Yes?
Mr. Deweese? Mr. Leeds?
Yes.
Mr. Notaro?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Utz?
Yes.
Mr. Palestina?
Yes.
Motion carries for the adoption of the consent agenda.
May I have a motion to adopt resolution 188, 2022? 88's not pulled. Well, we're doing that one separately. Separate discussion.
Separate discussion. You can make the motion, and then we'll discuss.
Unless you don't support it.
If someone's going to vote no on a resolution, they shouldn't move it.
Okay. Anyone else would like to make a motion to adopt 188? Okay.
Nobody's moving
No one's-
188, correct?
Nobody's gonna do 188.
Okay. Motion for the payment of bills.
I'd like to make a necessary motion for the payment of bills for the amount of $967,441.26. Sorry about that. Boy, that was hard to get out. Okay.
Roll call.
Usually pretty good.
Mrs. Bucci?
Yes?
Mr. Deweese? Mr. Leeds?
Yes.
Mr. Notaro?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Utz?
Yes.
Mr. Palestina?
Yes.
Motion carries for payment of bills.
Meeting notices.
The next city council meeting will be October 11th at 6 PM will be the work session, the regular session to follow immediately. And don't forget the trunk or treat is on October 8th prior to that next meeting.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All righty.
Wow.